Hello and welcome to our program. U.S. President Donald Trump has been responding positively to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's New Year's address and personal letter. He said the venue for the second North Korea-U.S. summit is being discussed and will be announced in the near future. Will Trump's second meeting with Kim happen soon, like he suggested? Let's look at what we have for you today.
On this week's A Road to Peace, we discuss the prospects for a second summit between North Korea and the U.S. and the significance of Kim's visit to China. We also take a look at North Korean TV coverage on lavish New Year's Eve celebrations in Pyongyang. Lastly, we speak with North Korean experts to reflect on the challenges facing the two Koreas this year and the role of Seoul in addressing them.
For today's discussion, we're joined by Dr. Woo Jung-Yeop from the Sejong Institute. Thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
So President Trump said that the U.S. is negotiating on a possible location for the second summit with North Korea, but he also added that he's going to announce it in the not-too-distant future. So can we say that they've already made some possible, considerable preparations for this event?
I think from the White House that they are preparing for all the possibilities that can happen within near future. However, it is very doubtful at current stage that North Korea and the United States actually negotiating for the location and the timing for the second summit. Because very recently, Mr. Steve Biegun, special representative for the North Korean policy of the State Department, visited South Korea, and there is no sign that he is negotiating with the North Korea for the second summit. And it is reported that the U.S. State Department and also the White House, those staffers are not really interested in the direct summit between Trump and Kim in the earlier half without having pre-meetings at the working level or high levels. So I think that President Trump tried to mention that everything is going well with North Korea to defend himself against the criticisms from U.S. domestic politics that North Korean negotiation is not going well. However, it is true that both leaders of the United States and North Korea have interest in the second meeting. So we have to see when they are going to announce the location and the timing for the second summit. But I think that we have to see whether they are going to have high-level meetings or the working-level meetings before that to proceed with the second summit.
So there are various speculations on the possible locations for the summits. Can you tell us those candidate venues and also why they're being considered?
So it is being reported by the U.S. media that Vietnam, Thailand, or Hawaii of the United States, and even the DMZ area between South Korea and North Korea can be considered. I think that it's considering the North Korea's situation because last time North Korea has to rent the airplane from China. So maybe United States prefers somewhere in the European countries because it's much easier for President Trump to travel. However, to consider the North Korea situation, it probably is going to be within the Asian continent. And Vietnam is the most possible venue for the second summit this time because there's a message can be sent by picking up the Vietnam for the second summit because Vietnam is also Communist Party controlling countries. However, it's opening its economy and it has a very good relations with the United States, even though they fought a few decades ago. So I think that is why many people are now talking about Vietnam for the most possible venue for the second summit.
Right, and normally we have high-level talks coming before the summit, but like you mentioned, as of yet, there aren't any signs of high-level or working-level meetings for this leading up to the summit. But is it possible to fix on a date and place for this meeting without having these kind of talks?
So it is still possible because now North Korea and the United States have several channels to talk about it. So if President Trump and the Chairman Kim decide to meet and there is any channel that can send a message between them about the location and the timing, it's still possible. However, there are a lot of things that should be discussed with regard to the logistics of the meeting. So now United States wanted to have high-level meetings meetings or working level meetings before fixing the date for the second summit. So I think that North Korea still wants to have a second summit without having those meetings. So we have to see. But technically, it is still possible for U.S. and North Korea to determine the date and the location for the second summit.
Now, I also want to talk about Kim Jong-un's most recent visit to China. How much emphasis would you put on this visit, especially at a time like this?
I think that both China and North Korea wanted to use this visit for their own interest. For China's purpose, now China has tried talks with the United States, and they have not much of time to reach a deal with the United States, so like 90 days. Now China wants to put the element of North Korea into that tried talks with the United States. So when President Trump first met President Xi in Mar-a-Lago in 2017, that President Trump mentioned that even though he wanted to talk about trade with the President Xi, because of North Korean issues, he put off the talks about trade with the President Xi. So now China wants to put that North Korean element again into the trade talks this time. For North Korean perspective, that as we just talked about, that North Korea wanted to skip the working level meetings and go directly to the second summit with the President Trump. However, after the second half of 2018, that Secretary Pompeo has been very skeptical about North Korea's intention of denuclearization. So North Korea has to directly talk to President Trump for the possibility of the second summit. So Chairman Kim said the possible meeting with the President Trump in his New Year's address, and also he sent his personal letter to the President Trump. And meeting with the President Xi is also prop that Chairman Kim wanted to give some stimuli to the President Trump so he can have more interest in talks with the Chairman Kim earlier in this year.
Now, some people actually believe that this could be part of Kim Jong-un's, how he mentioned seeking a new path during his New Year's speech. Would you say this is also a possible claim? This could be a possible scenario?
So when Chairman Kim mentioned the new path in his New Year's address, he does not really want to send a message to the United States that this is kind of ultimatum to the United States. However, he also mentioned that he's going to increase the cooperation between the socialist countries, such as like China. So for North Korea to be preparing for the second summit with the United States and the possible negotiation with the United States, they know that it will take time for them to reach an agreement with the United States and the international community. So for the time being, North Korea needs to resource to survive all those periods, because if North Korea is out of any like economic resources, that their position in the negotiation is going to be very weak. So to have like strengthen the position in the negotiation, North Korea needs China. And also, South Korea is the one country that can provide some kind of economic support to the North Korea. But because of the international sanctions, it's very difficult for South Korean government to provide North Korea with any kind of like economic or financial support. So maybe China is the only support that North Korea can get at this stage. So North Korea is trying to show to the United States that he has his supporters, that if the United States is not really friendly with the second meeting or the negotiation with the North Korea, but North Korea wants to show that they can still survive.
So basically, there are two ways of looking at this visit to China. So either it can actually stimulate these stalled negotiations, or on the other hand, it could just complicate the picture with having too much of China's influence in these denuclearization talks. So which outcome do you think is most likely to happen?
So the earlier half of 2018, the China factor was viewed negative to the United States. And President Trump himself mentioned that negative element of China into the North Korea-US talks. However, after the second half of the 2018, that United States is wondering why North Korea is not having any meaningful meetings with China and Russia, even though there's some mentioning that there's going to be President Xi's visiting to North Korea and also Chairman Kim's visit to Russia. So I think this time that United States might not have that kind of negative attitude toward the meeting between North Korea and China, because now United States might believe that North Korea is going to something toward the United States after having meetings with China. So this time, China factor is not as negative as in earlier half of 2018.
I understand. So the first Kim-Trump summit happened a month after Kim Jong-un visited China. So can we say that this time the second Kim-Trump summit could happen maybe in February or early March, considering this visit took place now?
So the first summit between Trump and Kim was on June 12th. And the location and the timing was announced on May 12th, I believe. And Kim Jong-un's visit to China was before the May 12th. So that is why many people speculated that this time that Kim Jong-un's visit to China, so maybe within 1.5 months that we might see another summit between Trump and Kim. However, the nature of the visit by Kim Jong-un to China is somewhat different from his visit in May 2018. In earlier half of 2018, that there's ongoing talks between United States and North Korea with regard to the possible summit between two countries. And in May, there has been already ongoing talks between United States and North Korea about the location and the timing. So they are just waiting for the time to announce the date and the location. However, this time we didn't see any sign that there's that kind of talks is continuing between North Korea and the United States. So I think that this time Chairman Kim's visit to China is not a signal that the U.S.-North Korea meeting is nearby, but it shows that North Korea's intention that they want to have the meeting as soon as possible with the President Trump.
Well, I guess we'll just have to look for those signs leading up to this North Korea summit. Now, moving on, celebrations were held across the world as the clock struck midnight on New Year's Eve. And Pyongyang was no exception. Let's find out what North Korea celebrations were like.
소리가 울리는 평양의 하늘가에 새해 2019년 응축의 축포가 터져오릅니다. 황홀한 풍년을 보면서 가슴 뽀듯이 차오른 긍지를 한껏 펼쳐줍니다.
North Korea's New Year's Eve celebration seems spectacular with all these special performances and even a drone show. What did you find of this clip?
So North Korea as a non-democracies, they want to have that kind of celebrations to send a message domestically and internationally. First, for domestic audiences, that North Korean leader needs to have his own legitimacy of running government himself, that North Korean economy is going well and he's taking care of his own people. So by having those kind of celebrations, that North Korean government wants to deliver a message to his own people that economy is going well. At the same time, North Korean leader himself is taking really care of his own people. And internationally, that even though there are many speculations from the international community that North Korean economy is struggling because of all the sanctions imposed by the international community. However, North Korea wants to send a message to international community that North Korea can survive that international sanctions and pressures, and they are not going to surrender to those pressures by international community. And North Korea is going to seek a way to negotiate with the United States in a very strengthened position, not in a weak position.
Well, with a new year come new goals and resolutions, expectations are high this year for peace efforts on the Korean Peninsula and the nuclearization talks. We asked the public and experts about their prospects for 2019. Let's take a look.
2018 heralded a new chapter for peace on the Korean Peninsula, from the first joint Korean march at the Olympics in 11 years and 3 inter-Korean summits to the first ever summit between a North Korean leader and a U.S. president. We take a look back at some of the key moments of 2018 captured in a special exhibition organized by the Presidential Office of Cheongwade and discuss the challenges that lie ahead for the two Koreas this year. The exhibition Come Quickly Spring kicked off last month at Cheongwade Sarangche. Presidential Office's collaboration with young artists showcases creative interpretations of the current peace mood on the Korean Peninsula. A 6 by 5.4 meter mural painting depicts the historic moment when President Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un shook hands at the world's most heavily fortified border. Collages of colored tape strips form the portraits of the leaders of the two Koreas and the U.S. Drawings of welcoming crowds in the streets of Pyongyang and the leaders of the two Koreas at Neungna-do May Day Stadium, bringing back the memories of the Inter-Korean Summit in Pyongyang. Other subjects in the exhibit include a pair of Pungsan dogs offered as a gift by Kim.
이제 화해 무드라 그래가지고 확실히 남과 북이 많이 가까워졌다는 거, 저런 작품들을 보면서 좀 느낄 수 있는 것 같아요.
뿌듯하다고 해야 할까, 약간 그림을 되게 특이하게 잘 표현을 해가지고 되게 새로워요.
당연히 다시 또 평화 정상회담이 이루어져서 정말 같이 가는 그런 나라가 됐으면 좋겠습니다.
The year 2018 began with the arrival of a peaceful spring on the Korean Peninsula and dramatic progress in inter-Korean relations, followed by the unprecedented North Korea-US dialogue. But lasting peace on the peninsula is a long way off, with many challenges to address, such as denuclearization and an end-of-war declaration. We spoke with North Korean experts to get the full picture of what 2019 holds.
우선 제2차 북미 정상회담이 언제 어떤 내용을 담아서 이루어지느냐, 그것이 한반도 정세를 가름하는 2019년도를 가름하는 굉장히 중요한 이벤트가 될 것이다. 또 그것과 맞물려서 김정은 위원장의 서울 답방이 언제 또 어떤 형식으로 이루어지느냐, 이것도 남관계를 포함한 한반도 정세에 많은 영향을 줄 것이라고 봅니다.
Among the most anticipated events are Kim's visit to Seoul and the second Kim-Trump summit. Kim sent an end-of-year letter to President Moon where he wrote he had regret his visit did not happen as planned last year and added he is willing to visit Seoul soon. We asked the experts about the possible timing of the visit.
작년 12월 30일 날 김정은 위원장의 친서에서 상황을 주시하면서 서울 답방을 추진하겠다고 이야기한 점을 고려할 때 먼저 북미 정상회담을 해서 핵 문제에 큰 가닥을 잡고 서울에 답방할 것으로 전망됩니다.
제2차 북미 정상회담 이전에 남북 정상회담이 징검다리 역할을 할 것인지 또는 제2차 북미 정상회담 이후에 남북 정상회담, 김정은 위원장의 서울 답방이 정상회담이 실제 제2차 북미 정상회담의 성과를 담아서 그것의 어떤 연장선상에서 서울 답방이 이루어질 것인지 이 부분은 전후의 문제는 좀 더 두고 봐야 될 것 같습니다.
As with the second meeting between Kim and Trump, the experts saw the need for high-level talks in advance.
북한과 미국 간에 2차 정상회담이 열린다는 것은 그 비핵화 쟁점에 대한 의견 차이가 상당 부분 타협에 이르렀다. 절충점을 마련했다는 것을 의미하는 거거든요. 그런 맥락에서 이 고위급 접촉을 통해서 반드시 2차 북미 정상회담을 성공적으로 이끌기 위한 그런 가지 쟁점들이 이제 조율이 반드시 돼야 되는 거죠.
당면하여 우리는 개성공업지구에 진출하였던 남측 기업인들이 어려운 사정과 민족의 명산을 찾아보고 싶어하는 남녘동포들의 소망을 헤아려 아무런 전제 조건이나 대가 없이 개성공업지구와 금강산 관광을 재개할 용의가 있습니다.
There were differing views on Kim's willingness to restart the Kaesong Industrial Complex or the Mount Kumgangsan tours expressed in his New Year's speech.
신년사에서 금강산 관광과 개성공단 이야기를 한 것은 결국 제재 완화 그 부분에 있어서 한국 정부가 미국 행정부를 설득해달라는 요구로 보여집니다.
한반도의 비핵 평화 부분을 진전시켜서 남북 경협의 물꼬를 한번 틔워보겠다. 남북간에 함께 힘을 합쳐서 경협을 재개시키는 환경을 만들어보자. 이제 그런 어떤 의지를 보여준 것이라고 저는 보여지고요.
비핵화 평화체제 프로세스가 발을 뗄 때 그때 우선적으로 금강산 개성을 우선적으로 재개하는 쪽으로 가도록 남북미가 최대한 노력을 하는 것이 중요하다. 거기에 대한 김정은 위원장의 강한 의지가 표명됐다고 봅니다.
The analysts called on Seoul to take a more proactive role in North Korea-U.S. dialogue to ensure substantial progress on denuclearization and the peace process.
문재인 정부가 특사를 파견해서 현재 단절되고 있는 북미 대화를 연결하는 노력을 해야 된다고 생각하고요. 우리의 특사는 북한의 말만 듣는 것이 아니라 이번에는 비핵화와 관련한 우리의 조건을 북측에 잘 설득하는 그러한 과제도 안고 있다. 그렇게 생각합니다.
어쨌든 남북관계에서의 많은 그 정상 간의 대화 또 남북의 협력 그것을 통해서 비핵화 평화체제 프로세스에도 긍정적으로 그것이 작용을 하고 또 비핵화 평화체제 프로세스의 진전이 남북관계에 또 긍정적으로 작용하는 그런 선순환 관계를 구체적으로 올해는 만드는 그런 해가 돼야 된다고 봅니다.
As a journey towards peace continues this year, forward momentum is critical to bring a long-awaited spring to the Korean Peninsula.
So we heard various opinions on the Korean Peninsula. So what would you say is the biggest challenge for the peace drive on the peninsula, and how should Seoul address this kind of issue and the trend?
So the problem now between North Korea and the United States is observed in 2018 that United States is kind of hopeful for the peaceful and the diplomatic resolution of North Korea's nuclear problems in earlier half of 2018. However, as North Korea is not really cooperating to the United States about working level talks to set up a roadmap for the denuclearization process of North Korea, United States has been very skeptical since the second half of 2018. So now two countries have to resolve that kind of discrepancies toward that the North Korea's so-called sincerity in denuclearization. So the United States wants to have high-level and working-level talks before fixing the date for the second summit. However, North Korea believes that it's in their interest to fix the date for the summit first. So we have to see that how two countries are going to solve that kind of differences caused since the second half of 2018. And if North Korea resists to have any working level or high-level meetings with the United States, I think that the decision by United States will be delayed until they can see some progress in the talks with North Korea.
I see. Well, Dr. Woo, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today.
Thanks for having me today.
Thank you. It's certainly a positive development for 2019 that both Kim and Trump expressed strong will to sit down for a second summit despite the continued stalemates in their nuclear negotiations. Hopefully there will be more good news down the road. And this is all we have for you today. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching.